right, let's get into the other new theatrical release that we got to see this weekend. Although most people, I think, probably checked this one out on Paramount Plus. It is Orphan First Blood, the sequel to 2009's Orphan.
Kill.
Now, you might be thinking, how are they making a prequel to a film from 13 years ago that starred a literal child? The answer, forced perspective and platform shoes. Step aside, Peter Jackson. It's a pretty silly idea, but Orphan First Blood runs with it and delivers a pretty freaky, zany, campy, good time. It feels kind of to me like this year's Malignant, the James Wan movie from last year that was just sort of like crazy enough to be entertaining in a horrific way. Art, you talked a little bit about it last week, but now that more people have had a chance to see it, are you glad that they brought Isabel Fuhrman back for Orphan First Blood rather than recasting this role?
I mean, they practically recast it. If watching this movie and thinking like, yep, that's the double. Yep, that's the double. Dang, they really got her crouching. I highly recommend finding that picture Zach was talking about where everyone's in their platforms all the way up. Yeah, like seeing her come back for the role, but it is funny, like you said, without spoiling too much of the first one, it is a literal reversal on what made the first one so good. I am a big fan of the first one. Working on the LME right now, I got to show it to Alina for the first time, and she's like, "This isn't a horror. This is a drama. This is a whole feature film about this family that's like falling apart, and then this girl who comes in and rattles everything up." And her performance in that movie it's great.
Yeah.
Here, I think it's kind of smart where they're playing into that now that the actress is older, right? And I agree with you. It is a very campy film. I wouldn't call it fully Malignant, but I see what you're saying. Because this is the director who did The Boy. Do you remember The Boy?
I do remember The Boy.
I am not the biggest fan of this director. There are some sequences in this movie where I was just like, I like what we're doing with it, but why does he... It's like a good joke, and you have the worst person retelling the joke. If they had a better director, dude, there is some stuff that they're working with in this movie, especially in that second half. I was enjoying it. It's not a good movie, but I had a good time with it. First one is a good movie, though. I vouch for that one.
Yeah, like the first, that's the thing that's kind of really interesting here is it's so tonally different from the first one, because that first one it's very unsettling, like not very, a very creepy movie that really does sort of freak you out in a different way. This one, she's like a lot more like Chucky or something. It's just like going for a completely different vibe. I do like the way that they change the circumstance with this movie. Like things happen in the second half of the film that sort of frees them up to like play coy with what's happening. And to me, that's when the movie does get really fun, because, you know, like once you've done that twist in the first movie, you can't redo it. So it's got to be out in the open a little bit.
I thought that was pretty awesome. Again, I don't know if you would say that there is an order to watch them in.
Well, Paramount actually autoplays Orphan after you watch Orphan First Kill, but then when you finish watching Orphan, it autoplays Orphan First Kill. So if you want to watch Orphan on Paramount Plus, just be careful you don't get sucked into like a never-ending Orphan vortex, going back and forth forever.
Does not let you leave.
I mean, that's the app dream right there, the streaming app dream.
Damn. I will say, when watching Orphan, the first one again, it is interesting how they retroactively add things. It's kind of neat because there's some stuff she does with the painting in the first Orphan movie. And then in this Orphan movie, she showcases where she got that technique from. So I did appreciate little things like that. So if you haven't seen Orphan in a long time, if you do end up catching this new one, I think, one, a rewatch is cool. But it also adds a lot to like the lore that they're expanding in. I was going to add something else in terms of like the background to the characters in the movie. I will say, first kill. It's not even first kill. The movie begins and it tells you she's like on number, I don't even know what. So we're still going to get an Orphan first kill. It's going to be like an Adobe project. They're just going to continue to add when it really was when all of this began.
Final
kill. But yeah, I would still check it out if you're curious in it. But please, please, please watch the first Orphan. It is fantastic. And I think Vera Farmiga, who will be mentioned again later on in the watch list, does a fantastic job in that movie. And Isabel
just get ready for a little bit of tonal whiplash.